Sometime this week, something in your body will go wrong. Maybe it's small, a headache, a sore throat, maybe something worse, and without thinking, you'll reach for help. A pill, a glass of water, a quick Google search. But for almost all of human history, none of that existed. No medicine, no pharmacies, no doctors. For hundreds of thousands of years, when someone got sick, they were on their own. They didn't know about bacteria. They didn't know about viruses. They didn't even know what disease really was. So, what did they actually do? It sounds like a simple question, but the deeper you look, the stranger the answer becomes. Let's start somewhere unexpected. Not with humans, but with animals. Chimpanzees, our closest relatives, treat themselves when they're sick. When infected with parasites, they ignore easy food and search for specific bitter plants. They chew them, fold them, and swallow them whole. Those leaves physically scrape parasites out of their system. Scientists call this zoopharmacognosy, animals medicating themselves. And it's not just chimps. Elephants seek out certain bark before giving birth. Dogs eat grass when their stomachs hurt. Birds line nests with insect-repelling plants, which means one thing. Our ancestors were probably doing the same millions of years ago, before language, before fire, before we were even fully human. They were watching, learning, remembering. Now, jump forward. Around 50,000 years ago, in a cave in what is now Spain, scientists studied the teeth of a Neanderthal. Trapped in the plaque were microscopic traces of plants. Yarrow, a natural anti-inflammatory. Chamomile, a plant that calms the stomach, both extremely bitter. Not something you eat for taste, which means he wasn't eating them for food. He was treating something, we don't know what, a fever, pain, infection. But we know this. By then, humans already understood that certain plants changed the body. And that knowledge was passed down for tens of thousands of years. But what if plants weren't enough? What if you were seriously injured? A broken leg, blindness, permanent damage. Today, you'd assume that meant death, or worse, abandonment. But the evidence tells a different story. In a cave in northern Iraq, archaeologists found a skeleton, a Neanderthal man, now known as Shanidar I. He had lived to around 45 years old. Ancient standards, that's old. But his body told a brutal story: blind in one eye, deaf in one ear, a crushed leg, and one arm, completely useless. He couldn't hunt. He couldn't defend himself. He shouldn't have survived. But he did, for years, maybe decades, which means something powerful. Someone fed him, protected him, kept him alive. The first form of medicine was other people. Most of the time, though, sickness was simpler. You waited. You laid near the fire. Someone covered you. Your body burned, shivered, fought. You drank water if you could. And then, one of two things happened. You recovered, or you didn't. A fever, you let it run. Because fever actually helps kill infection. Wounds, covered with moss, or even honey, both surprisingly effective against bacteria. Pain, you chewed bark, willow bark. It contained salicin, the same compound used to create aspirin. A lot of modern medicine is just ancient knowledge, refined. But not every illness made sense. Sometimes people changed. They saw things that weren't there. They spoke strangely, collapsed, seized. There were no words for it. So humans created explanations, spirits, curses, something inside the body. And for that, you needed someone special. The shaman, one of the oldest roles in human history. Older than farming, older than writing. Maybe older than structured language itself. Their job wasn't physical healing, it was negotiation, with whatever had taken hold of you. Today, we might dismiss that. But here's the strange part. In modern studies of tribal healing rituals, people often improve, Not because spirits are real, but because belief changes the body. Less stress, stronger immune response, faster recovery. The shaman was the first placebo. But here's the part people avoid. Most of the time, they died. Half of all children never reached age 5. A simple infection could kill you. A bad tooth could kill you. Childbirth killed constantly. If you made it to adulthood, you might live a long life, but getting there was the hardest part. For hundreds of thousands of years, this was normal. People watched their families die from things we now fix in hours. No explanations, no science, just stories, fire, and each other. So what did ancient humans do when they got sick? They observed animals. They experimented with plants. They cared for the weak. They waited. They believed. And when nothing worked, they buried the dead. Everything we have today, every pill, every hospital, every treatment, is built on top of that. Trial and error, memory, survival. The next time you take something as simple as ibuprofen, think about this. Not long ago, that same pain could have ended your life.